Okay guys, it's time to review one of the most underrated slashers I have ever seen. And damn, 1981 was a good year for horror. Happy Birthday to Me stars Melissa Sue Anderson, Glenn Ford, and is directed by J. Lee Thompson. What's up guys? These slasher reviews just keep on coming. If you subscribe to Drumdums, you know that you're going to get slasher reviews because that happens to be my favorite subgenre of horror. And this one is a little special to me because it's happy birthday to me, and this month, July, happens to be my birthday month. So I've been waiting this whole time so I could do happy birthday to me. And I'm glad I'm doing this movie because damn, this is really good. I saw this again last night. First off, shout out to Gabriel Lewis. He hooked me up with that right there. The Indicator release. And I also have this. I bought this quite a few years ago, I think at Walmart for like $5. It's a 2-pack and it has Happy Birthday to Me with a different cover. I don't like that cover as much. And it's got When a Stranger Calls, the original. In 2004, since we're telling a little bit of the backstory here, in 2004, Sony released a different version of the movie in terms of the score. They inserted this disco score into the movie, which was kind of stupid. So don't ever watch that version. Do yourself a favor. Watch the original version with the nice haunting piano score. That's the one you want to watch. So get the Indicator release. That's an awesome, awesome freaking release. And the picture quality on it is gorgeous for a 1981 movie. And also, before I jump into this, got my Killer Flicks t-shirt on. If you want a Killer Flicks t-shirt, go to the Drumdums store. Get a Drumdums or a Killer Flicks t-shirt. A lot to choose from over there. Yeah, check it out. Anyway, on to the review. Quick plot synopsis. This is one of the most ambitious slashers in terms of story that I can remember. I'm sure there might be some other ones out there. You know, usually when you use the word slasher, usually you don't use the word cerebral with it. I don't want to jump ahead too far, but as far as like twists go, this one really takes the cake. No pun intended. And also, this will be a massive spoiler review. So if you have never seen this movie, do not watch this review. Any of it. I want you to go in knowing nothing. But just know that Happy Birthday to Me is, I think, one of the best slashers of the 80s. It really is. But anyway, on to the review. Quick plot synopsis. At the beginning of the movie, we see this group of college students, and they're about to play this game of chicken, which is a game of chicken I would never in my life play. They take their cars and they race, or actually they call out the numbers. Whatever number you get in the order, you have to jump across this bridge. You know, one of those bridges that, I think they're drawbridges or something. They open up and close. So they jump the bridge. And the last car in the run almost eats it. So this is something I would never do. And this is way before internet, so I guess people did things before the internet to keep themselves busy, like I did in the 80s, but I never did stupid shit like this. But amongst this group of young people is our main character, Jenny, or Virginia, played by Melissa Sue Anderson. And she lost her mother to a car accident on this very bridge. Like, why in the hell would they play this game after she'd been through it before? But in the car accident, she got brain damage and a form of amnesia. I don't know if it's specified exactly what it is, but she has these blackouts. That's what it is. She just has these blackouts time and time again. And during this movie, there are all these killings that are happening. She's having these blackouts along the way, and you don't know if she's doing the killings, and really she doesn't know if she's doing the killings, which is really interesting. But the structure of this movie, I think, is so interesting because if you watch this movie for the first time, you don't think that she's the killer, you know? But what's so interesting about the structure of this movie is it's revealed like at the end of the second act that she's doing the killings, or at least you think she's doing the killings because it's her face. With that one scene where she's at her mother's grave and we see Alfred coming up and she stabs him. And so right away, there's your first twist. You're like, oh wow, she was the one doing the killings the whole time. Nope, not at all. Stay for the rest of the movie. That's the thing, if you're one of those people that gets up after the twist, you never want to do that for Happy Birthday to Me because there could be 2 or 3 more twists after this one. And what I mean by that is, once you get to the end of this movie, you got this really awesome scene where what we think is Jenny is coming out with this birthday cake and all the victims are just wrapped around this table, and they're all dead corpses. So it's really creepy shit. But what we don't realize is that the real Jenny is actually sitting at that table with her head down. And at first we think, oh, did she have a twin sister? No. The mask comes off and it's actually Anne. Played by the very lovely Tracy Bregman. I might have had a crush on her while I was watching this. But I guess that's my first big pro about this movie, is the structure of it and how it really keeps you on edge through the whole thing. Keeps you guessing more than any other slasher I think I've ever seen, you know, because whodunit slashers are a dime a dozen. There's a million of them. You know, even the good ones like My Bloody Valentine, you get one little twist ending at the end and then the movie's wrapped up and you're done. But in Happy Birthday to Me, it really keeps you on your toes. You are constantly guessing throughout this whole thing from the very beginning. And after you go back and watch this movie a second time, this was my second time watching it, you almost see the movie from a different light. And you notice how J. Lee Thompson manipulates the audience. There's that one scene in the beginning where we see Jenny in her room, and the point of view of the camera is in her closet, and we automatically assume that that is the killer. But what we don't realize is that, you know, that doesn't have to be the killer. The camera can be parked anywhere that it wants to tell the story. And in this case, the camera was there to deceive the audience, not to tell the audience that the killer is actually in her closet. We don't know that. I appreciated that. You know, that's something that you don't often see. Usually when you see like the camera's point of view or the killer's point of view in a closet, like say in Halloween 5, that is the killer. We know that Michael Myers is in that closet. But in Happy Birthday to Me, after you watch it the second time, you realize that no, there was nobody in that closet. But the real reason Anne was doing all these killings was because, and this was where it gets a little bit hokey, she was the half-sister of Jenny. Anne's father was having an affair with Jenny's mother. And so this made me think of Scream, because Scream had a similar plot twist at the end. So Scream actually owes a huge debt to Happy Birthday to Me. One, because of how many twists are in the movie, and two, because the reveals are pretty similar actually. Now, another thing I love about this movie is the production value. It's just an A-level slasher. You have your A-level slashers where you have top-notch score, directing, sound design, everything. And then you have your B-level slashers that are just really low budget, and they're pretty much there just to give you the kills and get the job done. This is a really well-produced movie. J. Lee Thompson is an accomplished director at the time he did this movie. He had done the original Cape Fear in, I believe, the 60s, 50s. Yeah, this is a movie that had a little bit of money behind it, had some star power there. Also, Melissa Sue Anderson, phenomenal job acting in this movie. There's quite a few scenes where she really just has to let go. She has to pour all her emotions out, and you can just imagine how exhausted she must have been after doing this movie. And that's one thing that I think horror movies don't get enough credit for in the acting department. I think you really have to, especially if you're like a leading lady or a final girl, you really have to give it your all, because if it comes off as fake, then it's going to ruin the movie. Now, aside from that production value, you still got some really great kills, and one phenomenal kill in this movie, and yet it's just so simple. That kill is the shish kebab kill, which is the one that you see on the cover. And it's interesting that the cover of the movie, that actor on the movie is not in the movie. It's a completely different character that actually gets the shish kebab. But I love how that scene plays out. You got Jenny making out with the guy, and then you just know it's coming. And we're just waiting for it to happen. And when it does happen, it's just glorious. I mean, it's just a quick spike right into the mouth, and you can almost feel it when it happens. And I love kills like that. And then you got a good scarf kill where the killer grabs the scarf and simply just throws it over into the motorcycle that's being worked on, and it pulls the guy's face right into it. And then finally, I love that this was a female killer. At this time, were there any female killers in slashers? Very few. I mean, there were slashers before Halloween. but you know, the big boom of slashers was after Halloween, and very few of them, if any, had a female killer. This might have been one of the first. That was a nice twist too. I like when females are killers in movies. It just gives it a little something extra, which I love. And plus, it's, you know, most of the time when we're trying to figure out who the killer is, we usually don't think it's the female. Now, as far as any cons, if you read behind the scenes, that ending wasn't the original ending. The original ending was that it was going to be Jenny that did all the killings, but they felt like that wasn't enough. They wanted to add something else on there, so they concocted this whole affair story and half-sister story, and then we got Anne becoming the killer. I liked it. I mean, I liked that, you know, you had a twist and you think the movie's over and then, oh, boom, we got another twist. I think it played out nice. Was it a little bit too convenient? Of course. There wasn't really a big setup for Anne being the killer. But, you know, at the end of the day, it didn't really bother me. And if I wouldn't have read behind the scenes, I probably wouldn't have thought about that anyway. But I freaking love this movie. I love it so much, I'm going to give it a Trapped on an Island. You know, it's that good. I think it's one of the better slashers out there. And if you're watching this, I'm sure you've seen this movie, but there might be a couple of you out there that don't mind spoilers. So, yeah, if you haven't seen this, go freaking buy it. It's one of the better slashers, one of the best slashers, I think, of the 80s. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on Happy Birthday to Me? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, give me one of your favorite twists in a horror movie in the comments. I'm curious. Also, come over to Killer Flicks. Check out this awesome picture here that Brad Thornton actually did up. And it's Lee's Angels, and you got Rebecca Reinhardt, you got Leela, and then you got Ashley Grady. And it's a Charlie's Angels inspired picture, but it's really awesome looking and really fun. Anyway, guys, follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and now Stardust. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.